This is the Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Our Voice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Our Voice 360. Let's go! Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. I am Chad Bumgarner, one of the hosts here, and I have with me my man, Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
Hey, Pete, with that, you know what to do.
Hey, our show was brought to you by Elect Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And CDB Consulting. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading?
And ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you have something that you want to talk about, or have us rather talk about on the show, or if you want to tell us what you like, what you don't like, any of that, please do not hesitate to contact us at our email address at ourvoice360@gmail.com. That's ourvoice360@gmail.com. All right, Pete, let's go ahead and get into it. Today, we've got some nice topics today. First thing we're going to talk about and give kudos to is Miss Simone Biles and everything that she's been doing lately and in the past as well. And then we're going to jump on this very, very hot topic, the critical race theory that everyone's talking about here in America. And is it good? Is it not so good? What exactly is it? You know? And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with the insurrection board that the House and the Senate, they're all trying to put together to, investigate more and find out what exactly happened, how it was put together, who was coordinating it, what information was given out and by whom. So they're really trying to get to the bottom of it, but it looks like there is some hesitation or some pushback, not hesitation, but pushback, some friction. There we go. From the opposing party, and they don't want it to happen at all. They want to move on, and half of that party don't even believe it exists, or so they say. But nonetheless, Pete, let's go ahead and get into it. So we're talking about the GOAT, Miss Simone Biles.
Man, good gracious. GOAT is the prime word when you talk about GOATs. When we talk about GOATs in different sports, the Tom Brady's. Right. Some people call Mike Jordan the GOAT. Mm-hmm. I don't personally, but in my book it's Kareem. But
blasphemy.
Yeah, I know, right? That's another story for another day.
Right,
Kareem is my GOAT. But anyway, I mean, GOAT football players. We talk about the Jerry Rices, like I said again, Tom Brady as far as quarterback. Baseball, Babe Ruth in baseball. But this is Simone Biles is the prime example of the GOAT.
Indeed.
She has just won her 7th straight national title in gymnastics. And no one, I don't feel that no one will ever even come close to winning that.
Right.
She has, she is so goatish. We're gonna make up a word. She is so goatish.
Right.
That she puts the GOAT on her uniform.
Mm.
She has the GOAT on her uniform, bedazzled on her uniform.
Hey, man.
So, if you know, you know.
And not only that, to me, I definitely relate that to Deion Sanders. So many people hated that man's guts. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you are in a game,
right, and
you can change the game, like, for instance, Deion played defense as a cornerback. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. I don't know what side he prefaced, but when you have a cornerback, for those of you who know the sport of football, and you line up as the opposing quarterback, if you know from the center of the field to the left sideline where Deion is playing that you can't go there, that's a game changer.
Yes, sir.
If your gameplay is minimized to 50% of the field, that's a game changer.
GOAT status.
I GOAT status.
Yeah.
So I equivocate that to Simone. When you're doing flips or routines or whatever it is that only men have been able to do, or when you're doing a routine or a flip that they banned because you're the only one that can do it, that's GOAT status.
Yeah, that's GOAT status. I mean, she has a move that's named after her.
That's right.
It's called the bows because she's the only one that can do it.
That can do it, right.
And that just lets you know how great she is as a gymnast. She has revolutionized gymnastics. She has put into place standards that these young women achieve to or aspire to. That's how great she is as a gymnast.
And it's such a testament to her work and dedication and sacrifice to that sport. I mean, because she put up with a lot. And
yes, sir.
First starting out being younger, I do remember watching, I think, some kind of documentary or some kind of show about her starting out.
Right.
She was already facing a lot because she didn't look like everybody else.
Exactly.
There was very few, African Americans in that sport to begin with. But then for her to have that natural talent and all of her coaches to be like, hey, she should think about, doing this as a pro or going next level or whatever it was when she was younger. That was a lot.
Yeah.
Because with that, of course, and unfortunately comes a lot of scrutiny. Because as well as I do, Pete, and let's just say for what it is, it's not an elephant in the room. She is not shaped like the average gymnastic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She is a shapely young lady. And there were issues or chitter chatter about, I know she would get points knocked off because of, she was a little bit more voluptuous than the average looking gymnast, which is not her fault. God blessed her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they tried to find any and everything to discourage her from really, taking it to the next level. And I'm glad that she, continued and kept the faith and had inner strength, to keep going. But her greatness is just a testament to that and her will to be the best. And,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now she is.
And one of the great things that I saw online in between one of her routines, how she's helping the other young black gymnasts along, you know what I'm saying, being a mentor, of course. And they showed a video last week of her tying a bow.
I saw that.
And one of the young sisters' hair, helping her, you know what I'm saying, along. And, a lot of people were saying, that's basically her, that's a rite of passage for these other black gymnasts that, she's like the godmother to these young black gymnasts.
Right.
And she has taken them. She's like the mother hen of them right now. So she's taking the little chicks, bringing them to her and just covering them.
As it should be. Right. Because she knows her time is limited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Her time is limited. I don't know if this is her last Olympics or not, but she knows her time is limited. She has a certain amount of time left on the shelf before she's gonna have to hang it up. And so, once you create a lane that's so magnificent and unique, these other ones coming up, that I kind of want to say it's part of your legacy because it's something you built.
Oh, it is for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So it's like, even though I'm passing the baton, I want to make sure that I instill in these young girls what was instilled in me so they can keep that standard of excellence going. So that when I move on, we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, man. She is a phenomenal talent, a phenomenal young woman, and she has definitely put in the work to be called the GOAT in her sport. And like I said, Chad, and it's not close. It's not even close. You can't even name another gymnast that you can't even put in the same sentence as Simone Biles.
You can't even debate with somebody about somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have debates. Who's the GOAT in basketball? Whether it's it's Mike, it's LeBron, it's Kareem, it's whoever, Magic, whoever it is. You have debates in football. Is it Jerry Rice? Is it
True.
Tom Brady?
Right.
Is it Joe Montana? Is it Walter Payton? We have those debates.
Mm-hmm.
In baseball, is it Babe Ruth or is it Barry Bonds or what I'm saying?
Hank Aaron, yeah.
Hank Aaron.
Right.
But in female gymnastics, women's gymnastics, it's not even. There's no debate.
You know what? And I was just thinking, I said that should be her tagline. The GOAT. There's no debate.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not gaudy. It's not arrogant. That is facts. That is 100% facts. If you stating facts, nobody can argue that.
Can't nobody argue facts. Nobody can argue facts.
Yeah.
At all. So yeah, man. Kudos to that sister and much continued success, especially going into the Olympics. That of course, she's the front runner to win all the goals again. I mean, barring injury, what's gonna stop her? Barring injury.
Everybody, it's like when Tiger was in his heyday. Everybody's playing for second.
Yeah.
And exactly, that's what's going on with Simone now. She's at the height, so everybody else is competing for second.
Right. I tell you, man, she is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm hoping. I'm sorry, Pierre, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, you good, bro.
I'm hoping that when she does decide to call it quits or step down or whatever, that she will continue to be an ambassador and really work in the African American environment to aspire young men and women in the gymnast department, and also maybe be a coach.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She would definitely have no problem being a coach.
Yeah, but the thing is though, look at a lot of GOATs, or we call GOATs that when they try to coach, it usually don't go well because they have set such a standard for themselves that those people that they're trying to coach can't get to. They're like, ooh, you why can't you do this? Why can't because we're not you. Why I can't do it? Because I'm not you. Right. I'm not on that level yet.
Right.
So but like you said, bro, I hope she does, after she does retire, whenever that will be, that she pushes these young sisters, to be greater and greater and greater in the sport of gymnastics, for sure.
And I kind of want to say this, but I don't want to say this, but I really want to see her focus on the people in our community, because we're the ones that don't have the access to, great coaches or facilities to help us go, to the next level. But yeah, so yeah, I'm wishing her the best, man. Much love and respect to Simone. Indeed. All right, Pete, let's crisscross on over to the next topic, which happens to be a really, really hot topic, especially here in the States. Critical race theory, my brother. Critical race theory. Now, from my understanding, that theory has been out for quite some time.
Yes, sir.
This is nothing new.
1970s. Yeah, that's when it began in the 1970s. And let me give you the definition for the people that's watching and the people that's listening.
Of course.
This is what critical race theory is. Critical race theory is an academic movement of civil rights scholars and activists in the United States who seek to critically examine the law as it intersects with issues of race and to challenge mainstream liberal approaches to racial justice. Critical race theory examines social, cultural, and legal issues as they relate to race and racism. That is the definition of critical race theory.
So basically, this theory really helps us to, or teaches us to look thoroughly into the laws that created redlining. I'm just giving examples. Laws that created redlining, where blacks couldn't move into certain neighborhoods, or if they did, then allegedly the property value would go down, or why for every 10 black Americans in jail there's 2 whites. Why is that? Why is it that For crack back in the 80s, you could get 20 years to life, but if you had pure cocaine, you could get 2 to 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to give them examples, Pete, so they can understand the theory and what it looks into.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is not about teaching white folks to hate themselves, which is one of the popular theories that have been spewed from a lot of Senate and House representatives. That's not what this is about. And I hate that, because we need to tell the truth about what it is and what's going on and how to look at this.
Right.
And it starts, like what you said, by understanding what the definition is.
Exactly.
And then from there, we can move forward into the study and how it affects Black folks and others, but mainly Black and brown folks, and how it creates racism.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that, because I don't know who's going to be watching this or listening to this. So you and I both know that when we get on here and we talk about things, we want to make sure that we're giving you facts, and it's not hate speech. This is facts, and I'm hoping, you know, that a lot of people of all races will pay attention, especially to this one, because that's critical race theory.
That is the definition of critical race.
Definition of critical race.
And really, Chad, it's basically the same group of people, the same group of right-wing politicians, the Republicans, who have once again taken a term and made it the boogeyman.
Right.
And because that's what they do. They'll take one term and make. Let's go back to George Floyd and defunding the police.
That's another good one. Yeah.
They took defunding the police,
right,
and made a complete lie narrative of what defunding the police is.
That is true.
Because these same politicians and people on city councils and school boards, they defund stuff all the time.
Yes.
But when it came to defunding the police, they made it seem like, and they took the lead on the narrative and made a lie of what defunding the police is. It's basically taking money away from the police and putting it in different other areas, mental health, more medical facilities, this, that, and the third, yada, yada, yada.
Education.
That's what education. That's what the funding is. Taking money away from something and putting it into something else. But those Republicans and those people right of the aisle made it a boogie monster.
But hold on real quick though, Pete, because what you just said, I agree with. But let's finish the definition. And what I mean by that is, when we originally talked about defunding the police, it is, as you said, we want to take some of that money, put it into education, put it into mental health facilities, put it into therapists or psychiatric treatment, because these entities will help, if we do it right, will help minimize the need to have a police presence. In other words, it using that money in other areas to help people helps the police.
Exactly.
Does that make, you see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's not, when we say defund the police, it's not to punish them. It's okay. Look, we're having issues. So how can we help the police? Because, you know, like I know a lot of times there are mental health issues when they arrive on the scene. I do get that police have split-second decisions. I get that. But at the same time, if we have certain things in place, just like I said on several episodes before, I think that a therapist or psychologist, whatever, needs to go on these rides with the police, because there are times when somebody can come in and be able to talk that person down. They're trained to do that. Police are not trained to do that. They have what you call negotiators, but every police officer is not a negotiator.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So putting money into something like that, mental health facilities where people can get the care that they need,
right?
Educational system, so that these kids are being properly educated and getting the access to tools and things they need to succeed. so that they don't have time to be out here, doing, God knows what.
Right.
But these things are put into place, and that money can be used to help the police. This isn't to punish. This is to help not only the police, but our communities as well.
Exactly.
I don't want to get into that, but yes, let's just stay on track. So critical race theory, your example was using defund the police. I got you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And again, those people who can't make laws, who are on the right side of the aisle, of course, as we see, they can't, formulate a plan to make things better in the world. So what do? They'll grab and leech onto anything that sounds negative and make it the boogie monster, just like with critical race theory. The majority of people who are lambasting critical race theory don't have any earthly idea what it means.
And then see, that's where you and I beg to differ, because I believe they do know what it means, but it's a lot better for them to create fearmonger, because that's how they get votes.
No,
if you can create fear, that gives them votes. They know what critical race theory is. I promise you they do. But they're not going to come out and give the truth. They got to spin it. It's just like defund the police. You got to keep people divided, and that's what's going on.
Yeah,
they're keeping the division going.
But Chad, honestly, I really, I beg to differ. I guarantee you, they really don't. I don't care if you went to Harvard or you went to Yale, which a lot of these Congress people have, or whatever school you go to. They're not teaching critical race theory. That's not something that they go out of their way to learn about. You see what I'm saying? So I guarantee you, a lot of these folk that's bashing critical race theory, as far as politicians, I think, does some of them know what it is? Yeah, I'm sure they do now. But to begin with, they just latched onto something that was a negative because black folk were talking about it.
And the thing that gets me, Pete, is this right here is a computer. Just like we were able to look up the definition, they could have done the same thing. Right. It's not hard.
Yeah.
So my thing is, you look real stupid sitting here making an argument for something you don't know anything about, but you're too lazy to go find out what the definition is.
Because first of all, it like you just said, it feeds their base.
It does.
And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but a lot of these people, especially with these folk that's in these states that's all of a sudden they're going to try to get critical race theory out of school, and these folk at these school board meetings and going, they're taking signs and stuff. Don't teach my child critical race theory. If you would ask them what it meant, they could not tell you what it meant. But their Republican leadership has told them, it's bad because
and they take it as law.
Hold on, because it's teaching white people, teaching white children that the United States is racist. That's their big play.
Right.
You're teaching our white children that they're bad people. No, that's not what it is. Really, that's not what it is. But again, that's the boogie monster that they've created, because anytime white people feel threatened about anything, or you make white people feel uncomfortable, it's hell. It's going to be hell to pay.
That's true. That is true.
And whether I understand it or not, you come challenging me as a white person, I'm already against it, whether I know what critical race theory means or not. And like I said, these people at these school boards, first of all, they don't teach critical race theory until you're in college. Right. This is not something that they teach in elementary school or middle school or high school. This is something that's taught in college.
Right.
So again, these people don't have a clue what this is. They don't have a clue. That further lets you know they don't have a clue what they're talking about.
They don't want to know, people.
And they don't want to know.
Information is there. That's what I'm saying.
They don't want to know. And by these politicians pushing this lie about critical race theory, as just like with Nicole Hannah Jones, with the 1619 project.
Exactly.
It's telling you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to tell your children your white children the uncomfortable truth about how your ancestors treated people that don't look like you.
That's right. That's right.
You don't want to teach the truth about how white people raped and pillaged the Indians and took this country.
Pushed them out west, the Trail of Tears. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't want to teach your children how white people went to Africa and took slaves and brought slaves over here and built this country on the backs of African slaves.
For free.
You don't want for free. You don't want to teach your children. That's how this economy is big as it is.
Not big. This is big, and this was the fastest growing economy and the biggest, and that is why.
And that's why
400 years of free labor,
of chattel slavery. Yeah,
of chattel slavery. That's how you became the biggest and the baddest.
Yeah, and you don't want to teach your children that because you don't your fragility will not allow you to be questioned, or your fragility won't allow you to be scrutinized. The truth is the truth.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
The truth is the truth. and if you don't want to teach your child the truth, cool. That's your business. But don't go into making laws and things of that sort to try to stop what the truth is.
But you know what? What you're going to do is, especially the generation nowadays, what you're going to do is even make them more curious. You ever know as a kid, they tell you, don't touch that stove, or don't touch that plant, or don't go outside. What do you think a kid is going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So you're making all these laws and you're talking about critical race theory. You're giving out the wrong information. You're trying to have laws to ban stuff. What do you think these kids are going to do? Why is it so bad?
Mm-hmm.
What's so bad about it? Let me go find out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and these are not the days where, like you said, Chad, like kids can't, like you said, this phone is a computer, a walking computer.
That's it.
These kids can Google anything. If they want to Google critical race theory, they will. It's really about hiding truth and not making white people look bad. Yeah, that's why they're going against critical race theory. Unless you were, somebody that studied critical race theory or you were interested, we had never heard of what critical race theory was. That's how, cachet it is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's how, underground critical race theory was, because you didn't learn about it until you were in college.
Right.
So we didn't talk about critical race theory
at all
when we were at Hickory High School.
We did not. We did not.
We didn't. Mm-mm. Back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Early 90s. Ooh, we old. But anyway.
I know, bro. I know.
We didn't talk about critical race theory. This has been going on since the 70s.
But you know what, Pete? In Texas, in their history books, they're trying to change it to whereas they're trying to say that the slaves enjoyed slavery. And it wasn't slavery, it was indentured servitude.
Yeah.
They're trying to change the narrative of how bad slavery is. Talking about, we actually liked it and enjoyed it. Say who?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, that's where Texas is where textbooks are written. All of the textbooks in America are written in Texas. So, I mean, that's their big thing, again, because white people and white politicians don't want to make white people look bad. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And not teach their children that America is not a racist country, but it is. That's just fact. That's just fact. If America wasn't racist, you wouldn't have destroyed the Indian population.
Damn near wiped them out.
Exactly. There's no slavery. There's no Jim Crow. There's no civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. If this country is not racist, we would have a Black Wall Street. If this country was not exactly, if this country was not racist,
there wouldn't be any redlining.
There's no exactly. There's no red line, and there's no black folk getting charged more for for crimes than white people. There would be no, if I'm putting my house on the market, my house is appraised $80,000-$90,000 less because I'm black if I was white. You see what I'm saying?
I just seen an article about that, Pete.
Exactly. So you can't tell me that this country is not racist. Stop it. It's ingrained. Racism. Ism means it's a system.
Right. Right.
Any ism.
This country was built on this ism.
Ism. Any ism means it's a system.
Mm-hmm.
So racism is a system that's been baked and perfected in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So while people are out here, trying, and these politicians out here talking about critical race theory and it shouldn't be taught and yada, 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 you're not telling your children the truth. And that's what these Christians say they want, right? They want truth, right?
That's what they say. That's what they say,
right? And most of these politicians claim to be Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a Christian, you want to let everybody know what the truth is, even your own race.
The truth is the light.
You would think.
You would think, yeah.
But you know how that's another story for another day, Chad, about that hypocrisy that religion hypocrisy that they run. Mm-hmm. But again, critical race theory is a study of how race and racism affects laws. That's basically what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not want to teach your children that? If you're not fragile, if you're not in your feelings,
if you're not scared of change,
and if you're not, if you're the Christian that you say you are, why would you not want to let your children know the truth? Why would you keep this from black children?
Because
or other children that don't look like you.
Well, one of the things is, I believe, is that America is becoming more and more by the year blacker and browner. And the white population, generally, not all, are in fear of losing this so-called control that they have. And my thing is, if you would just treat human beings as human beings, you wouldn't have this fear, regardless of who's in control, because we will all be treating each other fairly. If fairness was really a thing here, it wouldn't be a first Latino president or first black astronaut. It would be Jim Green, astronaut from Kansas, or Susan Rodriguez, president of ABC Company. It wouldn't be an ethnicity tied to it if we were treating each other fairly. And like I said, generally, they know this, but the fear is deep down that when the black and brown population become the majority, that they're going to turn around and treat the white population like they were treated when the white population was in power. I've heard this so many times. They're in fear. Like I said, it's not all white folks, because generally a lot of white folks are good-hearted people, and they really don't try to get into the race thing. They try to treat everybody fairly. But my thing is, if you're not voicing and acting out on racism, then you're just as bad as the people who are.
Exactly.
You can't be on the sideline. It's like, well, Chad, I don't really get into that. I just try to live my life and treat everybody the same. And I said, and I appreciate that, but that's not helping. If you are really, truly wanting to get rid of racism and really be a harmonious America, if you will, then you have to open your mouth to your counterparts when you're at these parties and picnics and meetings and they're saying stuff behind doors. You have to speak up and be like, yo, we're not doing that. I don't believe in that. You got to do that, because we're not there. It's a reason they feel comfortable saying that in certain circles. There's a reason why they feel comfortable. And you have to be the person that says, we're not doing that here. I don't appreciate it. I think it's disrespectful. I'm not tolerating it. We can't do that. You have to do that.
Right.
And only until then will we start to see the changing of America as far as, fairness is concerned. But I mean, it's always been our fight, but it's got to be your fight too. in order for this thing to truly work out, because it's happening in circles that we're not a part of, that you are, that you either sit back and either don't say nothing to shy away or kind of laugh it off or whatever, and, go about your way. You don't like it, but you don't stand up to it either. So you just as guilty as the person saying it. And the way I see it. And that's how I explain it. That has to happen.
But again, when it comes to critical race theory, it's been turned into the boogeyman by the right and the Republican Party. But what makes it even worse is that media will not define what it is. They'll go on show after show after show after show, not define what critical race theory is, but wonder why people are not understanding why, what it is. Because first of all, if you're going to talk about it, have folk
understand what it is.
First of all, understand what it is, and then have folk on your show that deals with critical race theory.
Right. Because how can you speak intelligently on it if you don't even understand what it is?
Exactly.
I don't want it. I don't like it. Do you understand? Do you know the difference? No, but I don't like it.
Exactly. Just like prime example, Affordable Care Act versus Obamacare. Listen to what I'm going to go. Look where I'm going to go, Chad. They polled. I remember watching the show. And I think it was the Daily Show on Comedy Central, where a guy went out and was and asked white people about, okay, which do you prefer, Affordable Care Act or Obamacare? And they were like, the Affordable Care Act, because it's the Affordable Care Act. I don't want to have anything to do with Obamacare. And then the guy was like, you do realize it's the same thing, right?
I saw it.
So that's the people that we're dealing with.
That we're dealing with, yeah.
That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with right now. Because you won't research enough to know that Affordable Care Act and Obamacare is the same thing, but they attach this black man's name to it, so I don't want it.
So it can run you away from it, right?
So you can run you away from it.
And the funny thing is, a lot of senators on the Republican side had to wind up getting on Obamacare for various healthcare reasons. Yeah.
So this is basically what the critical race theory thing is. It's basically a study of racism and race when it applies to law, the laws of this land, and the right and the Republicans have made it the boogeyman again because they don't have anything platform that they can run on to make this country positive or push this country in a positive way. So they just, like I said, they grab on the things that look negative or grab on the things that look that black folk that pushes something that's going to teach them about black folk or teach them about teach or help black folk. You see what I'm saying? They're going to attach some negativity to it because most of their constituents. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and. Because we can go on another hour talking about that. But for the people who are watching and listening, that's what critical race theory is, and it's the truth. It is what it is. It's a study of truth, and I mean, and it's just that simple.
Just that simple. All right, I think we beat that dead horse to death. Some people still ain't gonna get it after this, and that's the sad part.
Yep.
We spent more time talking about the definition and the understanding and giving examples, and they still gonna walk away with it. We tried, man. We tried. All right, man. Let's skip over to our next topic and the last topic. The insurrection went down January 6th of this year.
Yes,
okay. You had a bunch of rioters or terrorists.
Yeah, that's
the Capitol.
That's the word, terrorist.
Yes, stormed the Capitol. One of the Capitol Police died trying to defend the Capitol. These people beat doggone nearly to death several of the Capitol officers. They stormed through the Capitol. They did a lot of damage to the Capitol physically. They spread feces and urine all through the halls,
Mm-hmm.
like they were animals.
Mm-hmm.
They confiscated, broke, and stole stuff from the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some people on the right that are saying that it wasn't an insurrection, that it was just um, with some visitors that got carried out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so fast forward to now,
Mm-hmm.
the Senate is trying to create a bipartisan team, party, board
Mm-hmm.
that will take a deeper dive into as far as investigating this event, the
Mm-hmm.
insurrection,
Mm-hmm.
to find out, the who, what, when, where's, and whys. How did it happen? Who coordinated it? Who
Mm-hmm.
said what? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
who said bring the guns and all this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of questions that
Right.
a lot of us have been scratching our heads about, like how did they know where to go to get to certain people's offices?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? How did they know the entrance and exits? I mean, this was
Mm-hmm.
not by everyone there, but by several groups. This was very coordinated. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you were coming to visit and protest, why did you have earbuds and walkie-talkies like you were out in a war zone?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What was the need in all of this? And um, there was a video of this young girl. There was footage. She was corralling, showing people where to go for certain people's offices or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go this way. No, it's down the hall. How would she know that as a regularly U.S. citizen?
Mm-hmm.
Where these where the reps, the representatives, the House and the Senate, where their offices are.
Mm-hmm.
It just raises a lot of questions. And I know recently they have found some more information where there was a call to arms, saying bring the guns, bring this,
Mm-hmm.
let's block this exit, that exit, so they can't get out. So a lot of information is coming to light, and it appears
Mm-hmm.
that from what I'm seeing on the news and reading, that a lot of the right wing
Mm-hmm.
do not want this investigation to go on.
Right.
And I'm scratching my head on that because, the U.S. Capitol was attacked. Let's call it what it is. It was attacked. And you're telling me that as a representative, you don't want to get down to the bottom of who orchestrated this, who coordinated this,
Mm-hmm.
the who, what, when, where's, and why's. You don't want to get to when 9/11 happened. We had no problem. We jumped on that lickety split.
Mm-hmm.
They formed a coalition and they did a year investigation and came back, with all the information.
And now we got to take our shoes off at the airport.
Right. So, so now you're telling me that because it was a homegrown terrorist event, we don't want to look into that. We don't want to know why that happened. And you got some people that are saying that it never happened. It wasn't an insurrection. Once again, Pete, we have to go back to the definition of insurrection so that we can speak intelligently about it.
Mm-hmm.
So this go around, I want my listeners to do that. Look up what the word insurrection means. The dictionary. What does the dictionary say this word means?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you listen to some of the testimonies of the people that they charged.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And some are still in jail, and some have been, I guess, on bond or released or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an insurrection, and I'm really interested in seeing how this, plays out. I know they're going to go ahead and move forward with it. They tried to work with the Republicans, and the Republicans don't want anything to do with it. So I know Nancy Pelosi is going to move forward with putting a team together to, do the research and come back to the Senate with their report. I don't know if it's going to be from now, 6 months from now, whatever, but it's a lot of information to gather on that one. Your thoughts?
My thoughts is first, Chad, we're not going to lead anybody to the dictionary because we give you the definitions while we're here.
Okay.
We don't want to we don't want to give you any excuse to say
I was
Chad
trying
Chad and Pete didn't give us the information that we needed to move forward in our thought process.
Okay.
Insurrection.
All right, Pete. Okay.
A violent uprising against an authority or government. May I repeat,
Mm.
a
Say that again.
violent uprising against an authority or government. That's what insurrection means.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So some of those rioters, they had weapons,
Hmm.
correct?
From what I've heard, I mean, they had pipe bombs. They set up pipe bombs and all kind of things. Yeah. Hmm.
Did you see the videos where they took the flag pole and was beating?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, so
That's a weapon.
that's a
That's a
weapon.
weapon.
Okay, I
Weapon.
just
Yes,
wanted to
it's a
make
weapon.
sure
Yeah,
it
it's a
was a
weapon.
weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And when they were kicking in the glass,
Mhm.
I guess your foot could be used as a weapon if you're doing that.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. So violent uprising.
Mhm. Against an authority or government.
Okay, so the first authority that came to my mind was the Capitol Police,
Okay. Mhm.
because one of them died.
Mhm.
So there was a violent uprising because one
Mhm.
of them died trying to defend the Capitol.
Mhm.
And the other one is authority or government.
Mhm.
Did they not bust down the doors of the Capitol?
Mhm.
Is that not part of the government,
Yeah.
the Capitol building?
Yeah, and did all the things that you had said previously. Yeah, they did
Okay.
all of that. Yeah.
Because the goal was to kidnap some of the senators. That was
Hmm.
the goal.
Yeah, word on the street. Word on
Word
the
on the
street.
street. You're right.
Yeah,
Word
word
on
on
the
the street.
street
Yeah.
was to kidnap.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Let me say, yeah. I don't want to get no
Hmm.
loss. Allegedly, the word was to kidnap some of the uh
Hmm.
the representatives and either execute or hold them hostage. I do know, based on the video footage that I've seen on this one news outlet, that they were chanting "Hang Mike Pence."
With the gallows out
The
in the middle.
gallows
Yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Right. I'm still
Uh,
trying to figure out how
how
they
that worked.
built.
How that work? How that work?
Right.
And the whole SWAT team don't run up in the spot.
Right.
How
How
that
did
work?
you get that out there and nobody saw it? Nobody saw a gallows with a noose hanging from it coming to the Capitol. Nobody saw that. That, that
While they're chanting, "Hang the
right.
vice president."
Even
Okay.
before they said hang. I mean, you
Mm.
got to get it to the location, Pete.
Oh
Is
yeah,
what
no
I'm trying
doubt.
to understand. I'm like, did you build it the several days before? And I'm like, from wherever you came from to the Capitol, nobody saw it. You okay? I'm at a loss.
I mean, Zip, we know, saw the dude with the pictures of the zip ties on his pocket and
Yeah.
on his hip and all this other stuff. But uh, the reason why they don't want to do anything, as far as Republicans are concerned, why
Right.
they don't want to do anything is because those was white folks that did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, those was white folks that did that. And by it being white folk, again, like we were talking about earlier, they don't want to be held in any kind of responsibility or look seen as looking bad or anything like that of that sort. But again, we have discussed this before. Do you actually know how much blood would still be running in the streets if my people
Mm-hmm.
would have done
Yeah.
not even a fourth?
Yeah.
Now, inkling of even looking like they were going to run up. Even if they had three of them would have broke the barricade, they would have all been shot on sight
Indeed.
because they had snipers on the building.
Yes.
There were snipers on the building, not one shot fired.
Mm-mm.
So they sat there and watched all of this happen with snipers on the building, with as little protection from the Capitol Police as possible because that's how it was set up. It was
Yeah,
planned that way
because
because they said a lot of the people were saying, even people that work at the Capitol were like, okay, why is there no Capitol Police here? Why is it so light? Why is why is there, because it's a multitude of Capitol Police there at all times.
but
But
Pete,
this particular day, some vacation days were used. Nah, Jimmy, you stay home today. We got it covered.
not
A
only
lot of
that,
that. Yeah.
oh, I hit my desk. Not only that, Pete, but the protocol to get backup.
Yeah.
They
All
had
of
to
it.
call him, and then him had to call her, and then her had to call him. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Because him downstairs.
Because
Him downstairs.
watching it on video,
Yeah, yeah,
laughing.
yeah, yeah.
watching the whole thing.
Okay.
So that the whole ordeal of the breakdown of communication.
Yeah, I mean
and the red tape just to get some backup is ridiculous.
and because it was a plot and a plan.
Mm-hmm.
There was a plot and a plan. And the reason why a lot of these Republicans don't want this investigation is because when they investigate and they start pulling these covers back and they start peeling this onion, a lot of them gonna be involved in this.
Yeah.
You can't tell me you can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
You can't tell me otherwise, because I mean, if we again, how did, like you said earlier, how did these certain groups of people know where to go in the Capitol to certain
they had maps
to people's certain hidden offices?
Right.
We'll talk about Jim Clyburn.
Yes, that's what I had in mind.
Yeah, Jim Clyburn said that the majority of his fellow senators
and staffers
didn't know where that office was that got ransacked.
Right.
Only a select few people know where that office is. He has a public office
and a private
and a private office.
Yep.
And very few people knew where that office was, but somehow they got there. I mean, if it walked like a duck and it quacked like a duck, more than likely it's a duck. It's a duck. This was a collaborative effort between a whole bunch of folk.
Yeah, it was
a whole bunch of folk, because a lot of these senators have pictures, and they've spoken at these Oath Keeper meetings and these other far right groups. They got their telephone numbers on speed dial. You can't tell me something wasn't put together.
Right.
You can't tell me that you're gonna call all of these people up to the Capitol on January 6th, months in advance. This was being told back in November, before November. If it don't go my way, I want y'all to show up January 6th. But this wasn't orchestrated. We gonna have less Capitol Police there that day, the 6th, but this wasn't orchestrated. It's gonna take me to go through 35 different people to just get some support.
By that time, the damage is done.
Yeah, the damage is done. Exactly. That's what it was, Chad. Let's just be real. The reason why they don't want it to be investigated is because a lot of these cats had some dealings with it. They had some. I mean, it's right there in your face, because if you look at Benghazi with Hillary Clinton, when the 6 military people got killed, they investigated that for 2 years, and nothing was ever found. They investigated that for 2 years, wasted good taxpayers' money. These same folk now don't want to investigate folk running up in the Capitol, insurrection. Now all of a sudden they don't want to do any kind of investigation.
Right.
Come on,
it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Come on, man, stop. Come on, man, stop. We know
it didn't happen, Pete.
This is a very short conversation. We know what it is. We know what it is, man. We know what it is. Yeah. I mean, they don't want to do it because they were involved.
Yeah, it's gonna come back. Yeah, it's gonna come back on.
And it's funny how the Lindsey Grahams of the world and those people were like, when after it happened, immediately after it happened, we need to have an investigation. Now it's totally different. They've done a whole 360. Well, we'll investigate it ourselves. Nah, that ain't how it works.
That's not
how it worked. And I'm sorry, forget bipartisanship.
It's not gonna happen. The Democrats are gonna, they're gonna take it off.
First of all, this should have already been done. What are you waiting for?
Right.
Another reason why, and I'm just gonna throw this out here. Another reason why in 2022 is gonna be it's gonna be hard for Democrats to get in to keep power. Because they've dropped the ball so many times.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm pissed at Democrats too.
Why is this not already been investigated? Forget some bipartisanship. Why is this not being investigated? Voter right laws. Why are you not doing something about it?
Why is that not a law?
Why is that? Why are we not doing this? I mean, because it's starting to be uncovered with the two main senators that are against the filibuster, yada yada yada. And I know we're stepping into something off topic right now, but um, it's more than those two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's more than Joe Manchin and Sinema.
Yeah.
That don't want to get rid of the filibuster.
Right.
Just read an article this morning. Dianne Feinstein from California, the most liberal state in the union.
Yes.
Doesn't want to get rid of the filibuster because she said she doesn't feel there's a threat to our democracy. So it's more than one. It's more than Sinema and more than Joe Manchin that are against. That's on the Democratic side. That's cool with the filibuster because guess what? It doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect them. It affects people that look like me and you.
Right.
So
that's
again,
right.
I know I stepped off topic, but that they're going to be hard pressed because a few things black folk don't deal with, and that's foolishness. We got out, we rallied, we got out to vote in record numbers. Black folk ain't never voted like this past election. And then for you to get into office after we put you in there, and then first of all, you've done nothing for us. Other people have gotten laws first day. First day you walked in the office, you were signing executive orders for folk that don't look like us.
You got the Asian hate bill, just like that, lickety split.
Off the rip.
One Asian person died and they already got a bill.
Off the rip.
And it's no hate to the Asians, let me be clear. It's just that it boggles the mind as an African American because we have been fighting for a bill and rights like that for over 400 years.
Yeah, 500 years. and I mean, you won't even. I mean, they don't even have an anti-lynching bill.
Right.
They can't even pass the anti-lynching bill.
They can't even pass that. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And who was out here getting lynched in these streets?
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's going to be a hard road for them to get us back. That's real talk. That's real talk because you've done nothing. We put you in this position and you've done absolutely nothing.
And I'm sick and tired. I really am of being the people that gets somebody over the finish line only to wind up once again getting the short end of the stick.
Yep, and Chad, that's what
pisses me off.
And that's what I'm saying. See, they don't realize that the bear that got you over, that pushed you over, is the same bear now that you're poking.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're poking the bear that helped you be successful and get to where you're at. Now you're basically you're poking us and throwing it back in our face. Okay, appreciate it, but all right, then back to status quo.
And I know that we're both proponents of getting out the vote because it does make a difference.
Oh, yes,
it does.
Sir. Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
At the same time, I understand people's frustrating with the voting because it's like when we do get somebody over the hump, they just turn around and squat on us. I can't say what I want to say, but they just turn around and squat on us. Nothing gets done for us, but then every time it's neck and neck, they look into us. They come into our churches. They come into our rec centers.
And this, that, and the third. And y'all, nah, B.
Yeah, they come to our churches and want to talk. They come to the rec centers and want to talk. They want to come to
the barber shop.
Right.
And
I'm regular just like you, And then as soon as you get in, it's like, we looking for paved roads. We looking for better quality teachers, educators, schools, facilities that can help our neighborhoods. And it's like, we'll get to you, or they just kick it down the road until next election cycle or whatever. And I'm really getting getting tired of that. It's almost, I'm not gonna say almost, it's flat out disrespectful.
Very much so.
You know what I'm saying? It's flat out disrespect because in a lot of ways it shows us what you really think of us. We're just the vote. That's it. We need to stay in our place. But should we call on you, you need to get us over the hump and be grateful that you have what you have.
Basically, that's what.
That's how I look at it. Yeah,
and that's what it is. But back to the insurrection. We know why.
Yeah,
we know what the deal is. It's basically. These folk, first of all, like I said earlier, they don't want to lose power. So they're going to do everything in their power to cover up what their bad deed. And this is their bad deed. You tried it. You tried it. It didn't work. Now it's time to pay the piper.
Pay the piper. That's it.
It's time to pay the piper now.
That's
Since,
right.
You know what I'm saying? You want to act reckless because you were scared of losing power. Okay, now it's time to pay the piper. It's real simple.
And see that's the issue.
Yep.
Being held, like you just said, I know I'm reiterating what you're saying. Being held accountable is something they do not take kind to.
Nope. Not at all.
At all.
Not at all.
Well, I guess that's it for that, Pete. We've touched on some stuff today, man. This is a really good one.
Yeah.
When we come back, we come back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, these things need to be discussed, man. They need to be discussed, man, because first of all, people need to understand what the definition of these things are. Mm-hmm. That's being discussed out here in these news cycles that the media are not, defining.
Right.
And it's not hard. It's not really complicated. If you really want to know what it means. So.
True indeed. So I guess that's it. We've hit what we needed to hit, and now it's about time to wrap it up. Any final words or comments before I get with the Bible verse or quote of the day?
Each one teach one. Each one teach one. And take care of your people. Take care of your people, whether it's family, whether it's friends. Check on your people. Check on your parents. Check on your co-workers. Because you never know what somebody's going through.
Man, that is so true.
Yeah, you never know what somebody's going through. So if you haven't reached out to somebody in a while, man, today, after you watch this, reach out to them, man. Reach out to them.
Because you know what? There's a thin line between sane and insanity.
Yep.
Like you said, in today's times and stuff, especially with the COVID, you don't know what people's mentality is or how they're feeling or where they are. So yeah, that's a good one, man. I'm gonna go ahead and give the Bible verse or quote of the day. I'm coming from John chapter 14, verse 1. Very short and sweet. I like this one. It says, "Don't let your hearts be troubled. Regardless of what's going on out there in the world, don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God and also in me." Not me as in Chad, but me as in Christ.
There it is.
Yes, sir. So we thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Pete, anything else?
Hey, man, just mentally, if this is the last thing from me, mentally, if you're not in a place where you need to be, find some help.
Yeah.
That's big. That's big also, because a lot, like I said, with COVID and things going on and people losing jobs and this, that, and the third, and a lot of people have been struggling, man. Protect your mental health.
Indeed.
Protect your mental health.
I know Black folks have a stigma with therapists, but it's real. Everybody needs somebody to talk to. There's nothing wrong with going to see somebody.
Yeah.
It really is not. I don't want you to feel like you can't do that or you shouldn't do that. We should all have somebody that we can go and talk to, and a therapist is very healthy for your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So please, if you haven't thought about it, think about it and go see somebody. It does wonders for you, I promise you. But that's it for us, guys. Again, we thank you so much for tuning in to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. Be blessed, be safe, and we are out.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.